Harper to get it in. Throws it to Ewing. Ewing surrounded. 2 seconds to shoot. He drives. He shoots. He missed. He missed. He missed. We win the bell, baby. Ding dong. The witch is dead.
Takes the ball at the 30. He's hit. Got away. Back upfield to the 35 to the 40. He's to the 45. He's the
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Easy and the Beards. Easy has the day off. It is just beard number one and
beard number two here.
Reporting for duty here today. We've got head coach of the women's basketball team here at UNCW, Coach Karen Barefoot, joining us here in a minute. She'll be sitting down, talking a little bit about her background and then the team she's got here at UNCW. And kind of this will be her third season here at UNCW. The expectations she's got going forward. She's laid a good foundation. Perhaps this is the year they make the big jump up into CAA title contention or perhaps even postseason play. But before we get to that, let's just do a quick little rundown like we like to do when we have a little bit of time and talk about the goings-on here at UNCW. It is the fall semester. Soccer and volleyball are in full swing. Just to chat about where some of those teams are here at this point in time. The men's soccer team, overall, maybe not where they'd want to be at 5-4-1. That's 5 wins, 4 losses, and a draw. This is a team that over the past couple of seasons has been ranked at some point throughout the middle of the season. Not quite there at this point in time. However, CAA play has gone pretty well for the Seahawks so far, undefeated with 3 wins and a draw. That has them tied at the top of the CAA with James Madison, a team that won the conference last season and a team that is ranked at this point in time in this season. Next home game for the Seahawks at time of recording here is going to be Tuesday, October 15th. That's Coastal Carolina. It's a non-conference game. Coastal's just down the road there in Myrtle Beach, Conway technically. Always a good atmosphere there when Coastal's in town, so come on out to that game at the UNCW Soccer Stadium Tuesday, October 15th against Coastal Carolina. And then their next conference game, big one here against the aforementioned Dukes of James Madison. They'll be on the road up in Harrisonburg on Saturday, October 19th. And that could be a big one determining where the CAA tournament is hosted. The top seed in the standings at the end of the season will get to host the the semifinals and the finals of the CAA tournament. So with a good performance there, UNCW can be in good standing for that. Over on the women's side of the ball, women having a pretty solid season, 7-4 overall, 3-1 in the CAA. That has them just a couple points back of league-leading Hofstra right now. Hofstra's 3-0-1, 3 wins and a draw. UNCW 3 wins and a loss. The soccer team next plays home against James Madison on Thursday, October 24th. That's women's soccer. On to volleyball, though. Overall, so far in the season, 11-6. Not a bad overall standing, but a bit of a slow start here in the CAA. They're just got their first win the other day against Elon. I believe that was on Sunday. Now they're 1-3 in the conference, so a little bit of work to do there in the conference. Their next home games are going to be the weekend of Friday, October 25th against Delaware, and Sunday, October 27th against JMU. That'll be in Hanover Hall for the women's volleyball team.
On to some UNCW men's golf. UNCW senior Blake McShay finished tied for 3rd as UNCW placed 5th overall at the Wolfpack Intercollegiate on Sunday. That's his best finish of the fall so far. Also, Segunda Olivia Pinto finished 14th at 3 under. On to some men's tennis. Not too much going on this weekend, but next weekend we got the Carolina ITA Regional. Check that out. That's the weekend of the 18th through the 20th. On to some women's tennis. Maddie Mueller-Hudges and freshman Sarah Merrill picked up women's tennis singles victories over Davidson last weekend.
All right, let's just wrap up here. UNCW baseball had their first fall scrimmage of the season, the first of 2. This is their only home scrimmage. NC State came to town on Sunday afternoon, and they played essentially 2 7-inning games. UNCW took the first one 4-2. Actually tacked a couple on in the 7th. They played that extra inning just to get the guys at bat. So in my book, it was 6-2. And then the second game took the loss 10-1. In the first game, I think you saw kind of a lineup that you might see, come regular season time. Second game, you saw a little bit more of the younger guys, the youth, the freshmen and whatnot, that you might not see as much in the regular season. So honestly, the first 7 innings looked pretty good, and so optimistic here so far about the season. They play their last fall scrimmage at Coastal Carolina on Sunday, November the 3rd, and then they wrap up their fall practices the following week with their Blue Teal World Series, and then that's baseball until the next semester, until January. One more thing I'll mention, we haven't talked about it yet on this podcast, but it's a favorite of mine is UNCW Club Hockey. They've got a club hockey team. It's not Division I or anything like that, but a pretty serious competition. They just swept Elon this last weekend here in Wilmington. They play at the Wilmington Ice House up in Ogden. Usually a Friday night game at 10 p.m. and then a Saturday afternoon game about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Their next home game, the next game period, will be next Friday, October the 18th. So come on out to the Wilmington Ice House, especially on Friday night at 10 p.m. It's a great atmosphere, and if you really like it, stay for the Saturday game. And that's about what's going on here this week here in UNCW Athletics. Stay tuned. Coach Karen Barefoot is here, and she's going to be talking UNCW women's basketball. All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Hawktalk with Easy and the Beards. It is not Elijah coming to you today. It is Beard number 1 taking the point. Easy is out today with, he's a little under the weather, so shout out to Easy. Hopefully he gets better in time for next week. Hopefully he's not sick for 2 weeks. But Beard number 1 coming to you over here.
And Beard number 2 is right over here, filling in for Easy during this time.
There we go. And so this week here, we've got head coach of the UNCW women's basketball team. It is Coach Karen Barefoot. Welcome into our studios here at the Student Union.
Man, I'm excited.
And the season's right around the corner here. It's basketball season.
It really is. And just thinking about having the hurricane, delay the process last year, not having a preseason and having a full preseason. Now I feel like it's normal, which is very exciting for a very experienced team.
And we'll jump into that in a little bit here. So one thing we like to do here at Easy and the Beards is kind of just give everyone a little bit of background about some of our guests. And so you born and raised in Newport News, Virginia, and played high school ball and then stayed pretty close to home, played college ball at Christopher Newport, which is in Newport News.
Yes.
Is that right? Why don't you talk to us a little bit about your childhood growing up and then into high school and college?
Well, my dad actually was born in Wilmington, so I have a lot of Barefoot roots here. But, married my mom, Newport News, and, I wanted to stay home because I wanted to, build championships in our local community where, my grandfather was my hero. He has his own baseball stadium named after him in Newport News, and he started girls basketball in Virginia way back then in the 20s. So for me, it's a place where I felt like I could make my mark, and I just got lucky to play the greatest game ever. My first shot was on the wrong end. That's okay. When I was 6 years old, I ended up being a pretty good basketball player in high school and went and stayed local at Christopher Newport and became the first player to score 2,000 points, 1,000 assists, male or female, ever in NCAA history, which landed me my first college job at 22 years old, which last week I was inducted into their Hall of Fame for winning a national championship. So I'm a builder. I love the game. I've been at 5 different places. I've been a head coach at 5 different places and just excited about being here at UNCW.
And that place you were talking about was the apprentice school, is that
Yes.
right? Now that, doing a little bit of research here. Now, did you create the athletics department there?
Well, I started the first ever women's sporting program with basketball. I was going to go play professional in Sweden. I had a great career, and all of a sudden an athletic director came to me and said, hey, your father, grandfather, uncle, you had 5 generations go through the apprentice school. We would like for you to start, the first women's sporting program with basketball. So I started it from scratch with, no locker room, having to change in the bathrooms, having to mop the floor, having to, drive the vans. And it really gave me that work ethic of really what it takes to appreciate and be grateful for everything. Took that $7,000 paycheck, lived at mom and dad's house, and just really built that thing from the ground up and was lucky to win a national championship, first ever in his school history.
I mean, not a bad first line on your resume there out of college to win a national championship and create an athletic program. And from there, you finally make the jump, you leave home. You finally leave the nest to Lenore Ryan here in North Carolina. Like you said, I guess you might have had some familiarity with some of those programs. What made it the right step to finally, get out of that Newport News shadow?
Well, they reached out to me, and it was a Division II program, and they never won before either. They hadn't won a championship. They did have a women's basketball program, but they never won before. So that was a challenge for me to try to build their program, and I was lucky enough to win their first ever championship there. And this year coming up, I have a player who's getting inducted there in the Hall of Fame, and so it was a great place where I felt like we could build something special, and we did.
And then from there, you finally have the, I guess, the D1 opportunity, and you kind of come back home. And I think when you came here, this was kind of the program that you were most associated with. You've become an assistant at Old Dominion.
Yeah, so after 10 years of coaching Division III and II, being very successful, Wendy Larry, who's a legend, who won 17 championships in the CAA, and I assisted her to 3 of those. I felt like I could come back home and also learn, at a high level, and she really is a legend, and I got to learn from the best. And from that point on, we won 3 championships, went to a Sweet 16, did a lot of great things, and I was ready to coach Division I, and so I got a chance to next go to Elon and build their program, and we did. Got to the first ever postseason play in school history, first 21 season, which is very exciting. So,
how was that jump for you as kind of a fan? Sometimes there are, you think lowly about D2 or D3 or JUCO sports.
Right.
What was the jump for you going from that quote unquote lower level to that higher level?
You know what? I tell everybody all the time. I mean, every level's been great. I just like a challenge. And for me, I think that I just got those opportunities. Not because I was looking. I was always happy where I was. It just, people just started knocking at my door. And then all of a sudden I accepted challenges and I thought, wow, I want to do this. I love building programs and creating high standards and building a winning culture of really what it takes, which is work ethic, having a group buy into one vision. And I just enjoy doing that.
Do you have to surround yourself with more people, the higher up you go? Or because I imagine at Apprentice, you were kind of doing it all mostly yourself.
That's a great question. At the higher level, you get more resources. You get a chance to have a bigger staff. You get a chance to do all kinds of things like that. And so for me, it was an eye-opener because, I'm not used to having all these things. I mean, I can take little and make the most of it. And for me to be able to have the resources, you're able to compete at the higher level and have, a bigger fan base, which I enjoy, is when you get the students involved and people involved in the community. It's awesome.
You're obviously a high energy person. Did you have people finally come up to you and say, "Hey, I got this one for you"? Is that was that kind of something you had to happen now that you're up at the higher levels?
I just honestly love what I do. I just had people, come up to me and want me to help them. Just like I feel like I'm just like a builder, and I've got all this energy, and they just want to take this energy and build something. So everybody keeps asking me every day, how do I just keep that energy going? But when you're just loving basketball and doing what you love and doing it for others, and really honestly, the end of the day is help them student athletes walk across that stage and graduate and feel like you've given them the proper tools and you've really challenged them to be successful. That's why I do it.
Yeah, awesome. So you like you said, you got the first D1 coaching job at Elon and kind of progressed that program along in the Southern Conference. You get the opportunity then to go back to Old Dominion.
And that was a great opportunity for me because I had to do something different. I had to resurrect their academic program. They were on probation, so I had to do a lot of things. As I would say, A before B. It was academics before basketball. So I had to really build that culture around, vision of making sure that I kind of cleaned up some things and put that first. And then basketball came second, and the wins came, and we did some pretty good things there. But I learned a lot around the being there because they would average close to 3,000 fans. Just being in that spotlight all the time and having to really manage a lot of things and knowing the image is everything and that everybody's watching. And it's a historical program. So, I'm really proud about things I did there. I even have my name on the floor there in the new practice facility, which is pretty neat, having over 100 wins.
So up to that point, was that kind of like the biggest stage you'd been on, the brightest lights as far as your coaching?
I think everywhere I've been, I've just taken it like that. It's been different. I would go back to the apprentice school day where that to me was the hardest thing I've ever done out of anything. Everybody keeps thinking it's like this level, that level, but it's really not. When I go back to the apprentice school and think about, only 75 girls in the school and all that, I just keep thinking about, why would people want to come to the apprentice school? And I would say, why not? You get a career, you get all kinds of, things that you got to work for. Yeah, it's like a job. It's like the military. You go there, you spend half the day on the job in the classroom, and then you got to go play basketball. It's a full day. And for somebody who's 18 to 22 years old, you don't know what you got to keep them motivated. You got to keep them going, because it's a rise and shine, get up, let's grind from early till dawn and do it again and do it again.
Yeah, it's a busy schedule. So you're saying just kind of different pressures, I guess, along the way. So that brings us here to Wilmington. And so you moved from Old Dominion to take the lead position here at UNCW. You mentioned this is you're going into your third year. Now, you've had, there's been mixed results here in the first couple years. First year was a step in the right direction for the UNCW program, albeit maybe a rough start in the conference. How did that conference start get off for you?
Well, I think that everybody doesn't understand that CAA is the 10th best conference in the country. So, you're playing against a competitive conference that, to me, that could beat the bottom part of the ACC or SEC. And, it's competitive. And I think that we really did a good job improving in every single category. And we were competitive in every game. And those girls the first year will tell you it's better to be in games than being beat by 20 or 40 or 50. So I think that was a huge jump for us. And, and of course, going into the second year, what a quick turnaround, you know what I mean, for us to be able to do what we did and be top 3 in a very competitive conference.
Yeah, first winning season in 7 years. Obviously, you weren't here for some of those. 13-1 at home in Trask Coliseum. That's, I think, tied for the best ever, if not maybe one game above the best ever. You've talked about it the whole time you've been here, building that atmosphere in Trask Coliseum. Obviously, it's paying off.
Yeah, I think that we did it with the fans. To be able to get out there in the community and be able to come in on the campus with the students and just really try to tell them that we've got something going on and make them a part of our vision and what we want to do. I think it built our team's confidence. And so to have over 1,000 fans at the games and cheering them on, up, down, whatever, it gave them a lot of confidence. And like I said last year, to be able to have the most wins in Division I era at UNCW, tied for school history, that's pretty amazing. And it's because they gave us the energy. You think about our 11 conference wins in the CAA, 9 out of the 11 we were down in the fourth quarter. So be able to have, Trask rocking and be able to continue to give us confidence. We had that next play mentality and we figured out ways to pull out wins.
Do the players, or both you and the players, do you feel that when you go on the road to some places, or is it you get a mixed results of arenas that you travel to?
Absolutely, because you think about the travel, you think about the energy that goes on to, a conference game in itself, and you have to protect your house. For us to be able to be top 3, we did what we were supposed to do. And if you still a couple more games on the road, maybe you end up winning a championship. But that's the thing, you have to protect your house, because that's truly in our conference what it comes down to.
Well, that's got to be one of the goals now going into your third year. Tough to get much better at home. So
right.
Is there an increased focus of going on the road and just making sure you're doing the right thing?
Yeah, it is. But I will tell you this, our conference is tough. For what we did last year, to beat the only team to beat James Madison in conference, during the regular season. That's pretty impressive to be able to hit a couple game winners in conference and the last minute. That's not easy. We've got to figure out how to steal a couple more on the road and continue to maintain the success at home. So we know it's a new year and we know we have an experienced group coming back, but every game is going to be a battle. And I think for us is that we want to be able to, we've already talked about as a staff changing few things on the road so we can have more legs and things like that, maybe change it up, because it's a marathon season and it catches up to you at the end. So you got to make sure, do you really want that shoot around if you have an early game, or could you do more things in the hotel and watch film? So those are things that we've really talked about in off season and our retreat and things like that I think can help improve maybe winning some more games on the road.
It's interesting, those maybe just a couple little tweaks to make a difference there, but probably even more so than that, let's talk about the personnel, because that's probably more important towards winning games no matter where you are. You lose arguably maybe your top player in Shrita Parker here. She graduates and signs a pro contract in Ireland. Talk about maybe just what she's meant to this program. She's only been here a short time, and maybe her future.
Yeah, I think Shrita did a great job just bringing the experience and sitting out when she transferred from Rutgers. Even though we only got it for 1 year, she really helped them. Sharita's a gamer. When the pressure's on, she knows how to make big-time shots. But down the stretch, she was injured. And I think that we showed that as a team that we could play without her and win without her. I'm very proud of what she did. And I'm so excited that she had a lot of success here and in the pro training camp to give her an opportunity to play at the top level overseas. And that's a big deal. And it helps with the recruiting, too, to see our players not just win now, have a winning program, but our players, if you want that opportunity to go overseas, we have those connections, which are big. But last year, having 3 players named an all-conference team was the first time in school history that we had that. So we still have 2 more players coming back, where, some teams don't have 2 players, that are named on the all-conference team. So we're very excited about that.
Well, it's 2 on the all-conference team, but then you still got a good chunk of your roster coming back, which is it's a little bit different than the last couple of years. You've seen a lot of faces kind of come in and out of the program the last couple of years. You've got a majority of your kids finally giving you some stability. That's got to be a plus.
We had an open practice the other day. We did a free coaches clinic for the coaches in the community. We're always trying to give back, connect with them. But then we did an open practice, and we had some fans there. And I will tell you, every single fan that left there was like, wow. The way that our team has competed and the players that are going to have a chance to play this year and the returners have taken their game to another level. This off season has been really crucial for us, and it's paying off. We're stronger, faster, quicker. They understand the system. The new ones are teaching the old ones are teaching the new ones the system. And I feel like we're going to play a little bit more up tempo even than we had before. So that's very exciting. And we have 8 players over 6 foot. So one thing that I think that we passed the eye test. Everybody's like, oh my God, you guys are big. I feel like a Smurf compared to them. I really do. It's like unbelievable. So that's exciting when you got that. And then credit our strength and conditioning coach, Kyle Gilbert, who's done an amazing job getting their bodies ready, their minds ready. That we're fit, we're in shape. We might be banged up here and there, because we're playing hard right now. But it's competitive, and we've got depth now, which is key.
I'll say we hear nothing but great things about strength and conditioning at UNCW. I'll tell you, that's the one thing that is always consistent no matter what.
Yeah, and that was one thing that when I came in my interview that I said I had to have. And they didn't have that. They didn't have somebody who was consistently with them and travels with them on the road. And I know that's a big part of what you do. Nutrition, getting them, ready, preventing injuries, and not just getting stronger, but there's a lot of things. And then the mental toughness part. I think that you can get a lot from, the weight room and, pushing through. I'm so proud of our players because 8 or 9 of them have already passed the Teal mile test, where in the past that was always been a struggle to even get some of those tests going. So I'm very excited about what they've done, and they create that culture of, it's that teal collar work ethic, and you're not going to outwork us, and that transforms to the court.
What's now we're gearing up for the regular season, so you're doing full practices now, is that right?
Yes.
What's an average day or a week look like now as a college basketball athlete here under Coach Karen Barefoot?
Well, the NCAA allows you 20 hours a week and with 1 day off. So, and then they give you 30 days in a 40-day window before your first game. So we're making the most of it. I still believe the quality of life with our student athletes so they can study and all those things. And so we do a really good job trying to make it easy for them, but we have a 4-hour block where they can do weight training. It's a 3-hour practice usually with a lot of stretching and talking in between. And then, at nighttime they have study hall and all that. So it's a pretty busy schedule when you get to practice. There's preseason for a reason and there's off season for a reason. But preseason is really locked in, focused on, that block and what you're going to try to accomplish in practice. And then the rest of the time is getting them, time management with food, nutrition, sleeping. Sleeping is a big deal too. Being able to stay with them and understand that, hey, to recover and to do your best and to peak in March, you got to eat, you got to sleep, you got to do all those things.
Is it 8 hours a night?
Yes, 7 to 8. You got it.
Jot it down. But so the weight training is part of that 20 a week now, is that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about. We've talked about Sharita as one of the big pieces that's leaving, and you lost a couple other pieces as well. But let's talk about some of the people that are coming in. You talked about the height, and the 2 freshmen that are coming in are all of that. One in Sunshine McCray who committed, I think, 4 years ago to this program. It seemed like, and then Nia Mitchell's come from right up the corner there, right up the road in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think those freshmen, have a lot of potential, but they have a lot of players in front of them, and I think that, they know that they could play, and it's competitive right now. But, Jess Munoz is our most consistent 4 right now. And she sat out last year and she transferred with me from Old Dominion. She's playing very consistent. She's a strong player for us, can really stretch the floor, score it. And I think that's big. Carol Ann is CA, they say, is really done a great job improving her body, and she's going to be even a better player. I can't even talk about one player in general, because I feel like all of them could give something, and our whole mindset is it doesn't matter who starts or who finishes. We need everybody and be ready any given time to step up and help out. But I really do like our freshmen. I really do like the mix of returners, and I like our experience. I think Deja Powell too is the transfer from UNC is going to be able to stroke the ball and help us out with some scoring. So we've got some good pieces. We're just as a staff trying to put things together and continue to get better every day. Our scout guys are with us every day, and now they're trying to help us get better and compete. And that's a big deal with women's basketball. When you can have committed scout guys in practice to help us get better, that takes it to a whole different level.
Now, are those the scout that you talk about? Are those students? Are those?
Yes.
Yeah. So they're kind of unseen,
right?
I guess walk-ons kind of thing, but they're obviously not going to get in the game.
Absolutely.
In the NCW.
So maybe they didn't make the men's basketball team or that their club team, and they're trying out and wanting to be a part of our program to help us out, whether it's being competitive or playing out our opponent. They have really helped us. I mean, they're going to give us something where it makes us work harder. Sometimes when you play against each other, it's great and to see that, but when you play against guys, they're stronger, and we're just very lucky to have the commitment from some of the students inside. They have to go through the clearinghouse, they have to get physicals, they have to go through the NCAA just to be eligible to be a scout guy, which is pretty interesting. But they have really helped us out in the last couple of years, and this year we've got a great group, that have been consistent with us.
So is that something you had from the first year here?
Yeah, and every year, there'll be a turnover because they graduate, but the message is out there. They want to be a part of women's basketball here at UNCW. I just think it's so great. They really are so excited about it and so committed. Got a couple that want to be coaches, which is great. So, and I've had a few scout guys in my years of coaching go on to be great coaches, so which is pretty neat.
Is that something you see a lot across women's basketball, or?
It can be, but for me, I think that they really enjoy it because I teach them everything. I teach them the system. I teach them what we want to do, and you'll see some like, okay, I didn't get a chance to make the men's team, or I didn't do that, but I want to be a coach, and this is great. I get to see the inside. I get to, compete against them. I get to go in the film room. I get to play out the opponent, so it's kind of neat. That's
really cool. But you talk about the mix, so you mentioned the 2 freshmen that are coming in, just the 2 freshmen, is that right? And you mentioned the 2 transfer that sat out the full last year, in
right.
Jessica Munoz and Deja Powell. You don't have anyone sitting out this year, do you?
No. So it's everybody, which is great, and this class in 2019 by All-Star Reports is top in the Colonial, the CA, which is pretty neat. So they're very talented players coming in. They'll be able to be eligible and play this year.
How many will be coming in, do you think?
Well, I mean, we have...
Of course, about a year down the road, but...
Oh, yeah. So after this year, we have 6 seniors, which is exciting, So right now, signing dates come up in November. We already have 4 verbals. Can't mention them because of NCAA, but very excited about, in November when you guys get the chance to hear about the players that have committed. So I'm excited about it.
Do you just kind of look for the best fit, or does it matter if they're, coming up from high school, if they're transferring from a lower division or from a higher division? Does it make a difference to you? I mean, yeah, we have an ABC formula. Academics are big here at UNCW first. Basketball-wise, they have to have a high motor to play. For me, they got to be able to, have that teal collar work ethic. And so we, as a staff, do a really good job of trying to go out there and see that person who does the extra work, or who's the gym rat, or the one that, at the end of the game, if you lose, they're upset, or if, they win, they're a good sport. I mean, character, the C part, is very important to us. So building relationships are important across, the United States, and even, international recruiting that we've really tapped into recently. I just think that it's who I'm experienced. I know a lot of people. Coach Martin's experienced. Coach Morris has great connections in North Carolina. Coach Tubner, who's new on our staff, did amazing things at Indiana State. He brings in connections. So a lot of it is, who and it is about fit. Next year we know that we need to have some scoring. Our backcourt, our guard play will be big because we got a lot of guards graduating, talented guards this year. So it is a fit in what we're trying to do also. And let's just touch on, you mentioned the other two players that made the CAA postseason team last year, and Gigi Smith and Lacey Suggs. I mean,
Right.
obviously going to be two critical parts to your team this year. They played in every game last year. What have they meant to the program thus far, and what are they going to mean for this season?
I mean, honestly, I can't put into words exactly what those two have meant for the turnaround for the program. Just to start off with Lacey Suggs of, me coming into the program and not knowing anything about the team. And then just saying that I want to build this program around her because she outworked people. She sprinted hard. She was coachable. And I didn't realize that she was a walk-on and everybody else was on scholarship. And at first people laughed at me and my decision and like, why are you, she only played 8 minutes the year before. And when they were losing by 40 or whatever, 30, they'd put Lacey in. And I was like, I don't care about that. So to be able to see Lacey come in and really just work so hard and it become contagious energy where the players are playing harder because of her, I think the team really respected my decision because they knew that she played that hard and she was the ultimate teammate and she was the positive person in the locker room. So for her to be able to go from walk-on to an impact player to last year being a CAA performer, that is impressive. That's a story that should be told, nationally. I mean, it just really is. And the fact that, the kid really wanted to give up and forget basketball, you know what I mean? And then, we come in and we look at her like, God, are you kidding me? You are that talented. You are the ultimate teammate. You sacrifice your body for every single play. So, you got to be able to come into a program like that and see those kind of players and understand who they are because they're the ones that can help a program do great things. And she's been a big part of that. And then Gianna Smith just brings a toughness. I mean, my God, when I had her in camp 8th grade, I knew the kid was going to play for me, which is amazing, right? She's been loyal to me. She's stayed with me. And, man, she's tough as nails. And she'll do anything out there. I mean, she's one of those players that, you talking about scrappy, you talking about flying everywhere, all over the floor, playing post, playing guard, will bring the ball up in a point guard position. I mean, she's just fearless. So she's brought that mentality on our floor and just really has helped us be that much better.
We've talked to Gigi and we've heard a little bit about her background. Again, similar, at least geographically, from where you came from. Now, she's been a bit banged up kind of end of last season into this season. Are we going to see her right away?
Oh, yeah. Yesterday, I think, was it 2 days ago, was her best practice. I think everybody in the whole gym was like, oh, my God. And so, we've been kind of holding her out a little bit. She's had some little issues with minor injuries, but, you have to make that decision as a coach, and you have to do that. Is that it's too early in the season to take a risk and just put her out there. But she's gradually gotten better. And again, when she came back and she was strong a couple days ago, I was like, there she goes. And that's Gigi Smith, and so, it's our decision through, it's a marathon. And when those kids can't go and give that 100% all the time, it's so great to have depth on the roster to have see other players really step up. I mean, you're going to see, you haven't even mentioned names that are going to really step up next year, this upcoming year. I mean, and I'm excited about that. I can't wait to have the next conversation. It's like, oh my God, where did she come from? Talking about Z from, New York. I mean, that girl is changed her body, her mindset. I mean, you're going to see her do some amazing things.
Well, then even just back to Lacey for a second, you talk about how she was that walk-on.
Right.
Last year she was a postseason third-team All-CAA, but I think even going into last year, I think a lot of people around here that knew her even had greater expectations than that. So it's got to be, this season there's got to be, shoot even higher, for the team and for herself personally. Yeah,
and it's great when you have talent like them, like Gianna Smith and Lacey Suggs, because they know scouting-wise, they're going to be, people are coming after them. And now they're going to say, okay, who else is going to step up? I'm going to focus on these two. Who else is going to step up? Sharita's not there. Who else is going to step up? And I think that's what's so exciting about to see these players really step up and practice while we're scrimmaging, things like that. And it's like their mindset is not paralyzed. it's kind of like, okay, it is my time to step up. It is my time to be ready. So credit to my staff. We work hard every day, player development, positioning, all kinds of stuff that we try to get them ready for those opportunities. And I just think it's going to be a special year.
And that year starts pretty soon here on October 26th. You've got your lone exhibition here at home against guess who? Lenore Ryan. Do you still know people there? Is that the connection? Or?
Oh, yeah, it's exciting. I helped build their first championship there. And so I just said that, my second player is getting ready to get inducted into the Hall of Fame there this year. So I wanted to help out. And plus, Blair Barefoot is a local player here. So we were able to, reach out to also, and she has a lot of fans here too. She was at Hoggard, really good player here. So, just try to keep that connection going. And I wanted to give back to a place that's given me so much. So I'm excited about that. And Cameron Seeley has done a great job there at Lenore Ryan. I expect big things from them this year.
And then, for you guys, you kick off the season on the road, kind of a 3-game road swing.
Yes.
And it's, against some big name programs here. You start off at Wake Forest, at NC State, and then you go to Longwood up in Virginia. We talked about the 13-1 in Trask Coliseum last year. This is the area here for improvement. Are we going to see that right out the gate?
Well, first of all, if we do what we're supposed to do and we win those games, that puts us in a discussion at top 25. So you got to understand that I wanted to do that early to see how tough we were. And those are games that, it's guaranteed games. So, we get a chunk of change for those games, but for us, we don't look at it like that. We're going to say, why not UNCW? And why not go into environment right from the beginning when there's so much hyped about them winning and all that is just to be able to stay together. I wanted to see how we'll handle adversity throughout the games, because that's what's going to happen is we want adversity to be our strength. We keep talking about that. And being a road warrior means that. So that's why we put the road games in a row. I wanted to challenge him, and do we come together? Because that's basketball game. It's a game of runs. How close can we be throughout those runs? I mean, can we keep it together when they make big plays? When we make big plays, can we sustain that? So I'm looking forward to it. And, people are like, oh, my gosh, you put a non-conference schedule together that's just competitive as I don't know what. And I said, well, I don't know what I was thinking probably at the time. But it's just to be the best you can be in conference, you got to play the best in non-conference. And non-conference is to get you ready for conference. And I feel like this year could be one of the biggest years in the Colonial. We talk about it in spring meetings that this could be the most competitive conference in a long time in the CAA. So, putting the schedule together, we had to make it tougher just so we could be tougher.
There was obviously one team won the conference last year, went to the NCAAs. There's a couple of NIT and 4 total postseason teams last year, was it?
Yeah.
And I know you guys were banging right there on the door.
Oh, we were on the bubble. We could have easily made it.
Could have gone either way.
And I think that's what that pain sticks in the heart, because we felt like we could have been the team and should have been probably the team. But, again, we had to do what we had to do at times. And I think that if we could have stolen 1 or 2 more road games, they would have looked at that. And
one of those road games was at Pittsburgh that you guys were.
Oh, yeah, we had at Pittsburgh.
And just
absolutely.
Kind of the last few seconds
that's right.
Got away from you. So.
Oh, my God, that still hurts.
Oops, sorry to bring it up. But, I mean, I think, you build from that, you think about that, you look back at that, and these games here, maybe they go the other way. But then after that 3-game road swing, then you're finally back home at the friendly confines of Trask Coliseum. You've got South Carolina State, you got Mount Olive, Kennesaw State, and you got to be hoping, I'm sure, the fans show up in droves and the atmosphere is even better than last year, right?
Oh, that's what we're expecting. I mean, we've been out there in the community talking about it, and, I think that they are on board. I can't go anywhere without people stopping me. I'll tell you that. I mean, everywhere I go, it's just like, oh, my gosh, I'm so excited about your women's team. And, I mean, everywhere I go. It doesn't matter if I'm going for a run or whatever. So that's exciting when the people in the community are excited. That makes me just smile, because that's what we wanted to create here. And I feel like our fan base has really grew this team. I really feel like they're the ones who gave us confidence. And I feel like they're the ones that helped us have that winning attitude. Whenever you're up, even the first year, because we gave so much effort, even if we would lose games, they would still be with us, because they would say to us, you're giving effort, and that's what we want to see. And so they've been kind of the ones that really grew our confidence as a team.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's, like you said, it's a symbiotic relationship there.
Yeah.
The girls putting the effort on the floor, you've got the energy there on the bench, and the fans bring the energy, and there's
high fives and floor burns.
and you see, there's some familiar faces you see there at the women's games every game, and
Right.
Some dancing going on, and
Yeah.
some high-fiving going on and all that. It's definitely a fun atmosphere. So for those that haven't made it out yet, definitely come make it out for the exhibition on October 26th. And then November 16th is the home opener against South Carolina State University. Anything else here today?
I think I'm good.
We want to thank you for joining us here
Oh,
on
my gosh.
Hawktalk with Easy and the Beards, and we look forward to seeing you out
Thank
there at
you.
Trask.
Thank y'all for letting me be here and just talk about our team. We're ready to take flight and get it done. So thank you.